Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee, the Hall of Famers. Big game, James Worthy. We've got Mike Bresnan, Allie Clifton will be joining us. Mike Trudell's working the locker room. Not a great night for L.A. The Dodgers lose. They're now down 1-0 to the Giants. And the Lakers lost 0-3 in preseason. But I got good news, Big Game James. Only 3 preseason games left.
Yes.
And then the real thing's going to start October 19th against this Golden State Warriors team. I will say this. It had that typical preseason feel, although it did get exciting at times. The second half, much better effort for the Lakers. But all in all, just a sloppy game for the Lakers, right? 26 turnovers that led to 31 Golden State points. And Golden State likes to shoot threes, and a lot of them.
I've heard
56 attempts tonight, Big Game James.
Crazy.
So.
The one thing that really can just haunt you all season long is the turnovers. And the Lakers just sloppy tonight. You know, I would imagine, I don't know what, but I would imagine the coaching staff they're experimenting still, not willing to put, you know, the big 3 in there and put that top 7 guys in there and start like some of the other teams are doing. I think Golden State's that's just who they're going to have, who they're going to play. Phoenix the same way. They're gearing up. So I think the Lakers in the next games here, I think they'll probably get closer to what we're going to look like. Because this is, even though they're losing, you don't mind losing preseason games, but you want to be in sync and you want to have some continuity, and you don't want to be turning the ball over, and they just haven't gotten there yet.
But we're not surprised, right? 10 new faces, and as James just said, we haven't seen Westbrook, LeBron, and AD yet together, or, as James puts it, the guys that are going to be around them.
Yeah, it's too soon to say.
So it is a little unorganized.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Frank Vogel, very liberal with his substituting pattern. You know, tons of guys played tonight. Fun to see the Rook, Austin Reeves, in that second half, canning a bunch of threes and making some things happen out there. Definitely the good with the bad for the Lakers tonight. I thought LeBron looked really sharp in his first preseason action. He was really good in that first half. Some nice turnarounds, some nice spot-up shooting by him. And then Russ, I thought Westbrook almost like passed too much. You know, he's really trying to do what he said he would do a few days ago and really try to make himself accountable to his team. Just really wants to involve them. He's going to try to blend in with them. He said, look, LeBron and AD, they had a really good thing going here last year when they won it all, almost a year ago to the day. I'm just going to kind of try to blend in. And tonight, a lot of overpassing, pretty much by a lot of guys on the starting team. Yeah,
I think when you have a lot of new faces, and I think Brez brings up a great point, you will sometimes overpass, overshare, trying to make everyone happy. This is the first time we've seen Russ and LeBron together. LeBron played 18 minutes, Russ 17. Let's start with LeBron James. Big game. He got going there for a little bit and showed you said at halftime, just enough to know that he's in shape, he's ready. He had a pretty good second quarter, 9 points on 4 for 12.
Yeah, he wanted to come in and, survey the situation. He has some new players in there, Monks in there, Nuns in there. I saw him try to intentionally look for them on some plays, try to, get them used to his passing, that kind of thing. Just a little touch-up for LeBron, but I thought he looked really good. Strong, able to hit some shots, off of that one leg, turnaround type of things. But LeBron looks good. AD looks good. Russ, just a little rusty still, new team. And as you mentioned, Brez, he's really just trying to overdo it and show his teammates he's a willing passer, that kind of thing. Don't expect that kind of game from Russ. But I think the coaching staff now, with the few games left, they might try to look at what we might be looking at when regular season starts, give these guys some rotation, give them some time together. Because they're still a little inconsistent right now, and that's expected this time of the year.
What did you see from LeBron?
Liked it all. I really did. I'm not surprised one bit. This is a guy who, yet again, had another long offseason like he did 2 years ago. And we know what happened after that. He came back ready to go. An amazing stretch for him. We're talking 2 seasons ago now. Obviously took the Lakers to that championship. Similar pattern now. He had, 4 months off? Took a couple preseason games off. I thought he looked very strong on the ball. Good off the ball as well. Still need to see more of him and Russ together. I think you mentioned it. Russ had 7 turnovers. So I got to see that work a little bit more. But Russ wasn't looking for LeBron tonight. He was looking for Malik Monk. You know, he was out there looking for Kent Bazemore. Russ was looking for pretty much all his new team to get them satisfied and try to get them hooked up. I guess now they say he had only 6 turnovers, so there is that. We did see some vintage Russ. I saw him grab a couple rebounds, trying to start some stuff up the other direction. But yeah, just really, I don't feel, James and Geet, like we saw a typical Russell Westbrook.
No.
And again, why would we? He hasn't played in what, 5 months? You know, the Wizards didn't go anywhere in the postseason. So it's been a while.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
His first 17 minutes of basketball, he's in his city that he grew up in. He's wearing a Laker jersey.
Not even worried.
First action.
Not even worried.
What did you see from him tonight?
You know, he's thinking too much. And Russell Westbrook is not a guy that thinks. He plays and reacts. And we're right. You know, he really wants to. You know, he met with Jared Dudley, remember? It's because he wanted to get to know his teammates. And I think he's still in that mood. Yeah. One morning he's going to wake up and he's going to say, forget this. Let me go do my thing. And that's coming. I don't have no worry about him.
Yeah, there were some bright spots. Brez, you mentioned Austin Reeves. Kent Bazemore, who we'll talk about later in the show, looks like he could fit with that unit. Kendrick Nunn, nice job playmaking. Dwight was great off the bench. You realize how much you missed Dwight a year ago. With the team, just the energy he brings. But he was 12 of 24 from the field. A lot of those came on layups. Jordan Poole did all his damage from the three-point line. 18 of his 28. Dwight Howard, 23 and 12, had himself a night. Let's head back to San Francisco. Frank Vogel speaking with Mike Trudell in the media.
The second half of Rondo and Dwight, what did you make of the first half of action, particularly with Russ and Rondo?
Yeah, really good energy. You know, it's good to see them play in a real game together for the first time. You know, to be expected, there was some rust and there was some, you know, growing pains. You know, adjustment period is something we expect with those guys. You know, but I thought both of them played with great energy, and you know, I thought Russ even was, you know, maybe trying to create and play unselfishly too much on a couple of possessions that led to some of his turnovers. But playing the right way, we'll live with that. So, you know, overall, good start.
Frank, it looked like Golden State was getting a lot of open looks. Just wondering about your thoughts on the defense or where the areas that you still need to start showing.
Yeah, we got to be better, and you know, obviously they're one of the toughest teams in the league to guard with Steph's movement, and you know, in the system that they've won championships with. So, put a lot of pressure on us for a group that's still learning each other. You know, but definitely got to be better on that end.
Frank, when stars get together, overpassing can be a thing. Has it been like that in practice too, with guys trying to be really, really unselfish, like almost sometimes to a fault? Is that kind of what you were talking about a little bit with Russ today?
Oh yeah, we've had some possessions like that, but yeah, but Russ has been really dynamic in practices. You know, this game in the short sample size is not indicative of how he's looked, you know, with our group. So you know, we're gonna shake it off, and you know, I think he's gonna have a hell of a start with us here with the Lakers.
Frank, you indicated that maybe LeBron and Russ would only play maybe 2 preseason games. This is one of them. You mentioned the growing pains. Is one more preseason game enough for them to work out the growing pains and not on the rest that you were talking about for the regular season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we said at least 2. You know, so there may be more. You know, we'll huddle up before each game and see if it makes sense. And you know, when even though this is the first time you all have seen these guys play together, they've been doing it pretty regularly for a week or 2 now, and you know, they're getting the necessary work.
Solid defense. Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
What did you make of his night? Is that kind of what you guys saw in him breaking him off to the fourth?
Yeah, he's got great instincts, you know, for the game, and when he's making shots like he did tonight, it contributes to winning basketball. He wins possessions on both sides of the ball. You know, just great defensive instincts, to be in the right place at the right time, to compete and really fight. And you know, obviously, you know, he's very versatile offensively. You know, he can play with the ball in his hands and create and make the right reads. Knows how to cut, knows how to space, and obviously, like we said, he's making shots like he did tonight. You know, he's a hell of a player.
Frank, is your intention to have all 3 of those guys with AD together on Sunday, and if so, what sort of the signs that you're looking for from that group all together?
Yeah, we haven't made any decisions who's going to play Sunday yet. You know, we'll make that decision on Sunday.
Dive straight to the bucket before that weak side help can get over there. it's going to be there.
For the first time following a game this season. Let's hear from Russ. He's speaking with Mike and the media.
Good point.
Russ, just want to get your analysis of your first action there, and specifically Frank was talking about obviously overpassing potentially.
I mean, at least for me, just taking care of the ball, just looking to kind of pass and, predetermining my passes and where they're going. So, 27 turnovers started with myself. So that's what I got from the first half.
What is ideal for you guys before the regular season starts, Russ, in terms of, you and AD and LeBron want to get X amount of minutes, or are you kind of more looking like race the marathon?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to figure it out right now. Everything's not going to be figured out in the next week or two. So, got a long year. This is the preseason. First game for a lot of us since April, May, or something like that. So, we'll figure it out.
Russell, what's been the most? What's been the thing that you've learned the most about playing with LeBron in the time together and in practices? Frank obviously made the point that it's not just this one game. You guys have been doing it for weeks at this point. What have you learned the most about playing with him, and what it's going to take to be?
The things that he's able to do on the floor. Obviously, at his size and his pace, really, helps me out a lot, just because of you having somebody next to you running with the same speed and same force. Each time down the floor is, big and beneficial to us, especially in transition. So,
Russell, you guys, obviously the offensive stuff is easy to see, the kind of the kinks getting worked out. Where are you guys at defensively, do you think, at this point?
Still figuring it out. We got to figure out. A lot of guys, including myself, learning a new defense. So we got to trust in the things that we know, and how to figure out and learning some of the nuances of our defense. And, we got some time to be able to figure that out.
Russ, you guys have talked about being a very fast break team this year. And some of the turnovers came in the fast break. What's sort of the rhythm and timing that you have to kind of iron out with your teammates in fast break to make that smoother?
We'll get figured out, just running, taking care of the ball. Like I said, that started with me. And make easy reads, which I've done for many years, and so I'm not worried about it.
Russ definitely not sweating it, saying, listen, it's the first run since April. It's going to take a little bit of time. One thing he mentioned was a new defense. Everyone kind of learning a new defense. You have 10 guys trying to get on the same page and really different lineups, and not everyone together. Learning the nuances of it. So making some good points, and not too concerned, and neither are we.
No, I'm not overly concerned at all. But we lost some players last year who were a big part of that continuity and being on the string defensively. So you bring in all these new players, yeah, it's going to take some time. No excuses, but it does take time. Coach Vogel is experimenting with different lineups. The star players aren't really playing together. So you're to expect, some inconsistency in some areas. But I believe Russ when he said, he hadn't played since April or so. A lot of new guys come in. So I trust that they'll get on the string here. 3 more games left, Brez?
3 left.
3 games left. And so I think they'll start to implement some of the things that they want to, as far as the top, say, 7 players really playing together a lot.
Brez, one thing, I think good news if you want to look at it that way, or a positive. I mean, Russ got a lot of those turnovers over with in the first quarter. He had a much better stretch,
no doubt,
in that second quarter, and I think that was his point too. You need a little more run, a little more burn, and learning guys and where they want to be, and maybe a little overpassing or a little careless. And he said that's on him. you move on.
Yeah, really interesting also to hear Frank Vogel just talk to the media. And he was asked about Russ. He had all these turnovers and, had only a couple points. And Frank said, let me tell you guys something. This is not indicative of the way he has looked in practice.
Yeah.
We only see, Russ in a small little snippet tonight. Frank and the coaching staff have been watching him for over a week now. Training camp was it 10 days ago it started, 11 days ago? So they've been watching him day after day after day in El Segundo. They know what he's capable of. And Frank just kind of laughed it off. He's like, guys, you're not seeing what we're seeing because we see him every day. Yeah. This game showed me nothing because he's done a lot more than that in practice.
All right, more to come on Access. LeBron James, 9 points in 18 minutes in his preseason debut. We'll hear from King James when we return.
Access Sport.
Frank and Russ both mentioned the marathon of the season, and just wondering your perspective on the last 3 preseason games, what you want to see, if anything, before you guys get going in the real one against Golden State.
Just continue to build chemistry, continue to work our habits, continue to try to implement new guys, new system and everything. So we've played some good ball at times, we played some not so good ball at times, but that's obviously it's not a surprise to anyone. So we got another one on Sunday, then Tuesday, Thursday, and just want to continue to work our habits.
We saw a stagger with you and Russ obviously start together, and then you went out and come in. How do you think that can play out as the season goes on, having one of you two on the floor?
I think there's a change throughout the course of the season, just to see what works best for our ball club. The more minutes that we get on the floor, we'll be able to log those minutes and see what works for the betterment of the team, for the better of myself and Russ. So we got to log the minutes first, though.
Hey, LeBron. I guess it's not that big of a room. When you've been in practice, like this is the first we've seen of you and Russ together. When it's been working in practice, what's worked so well with the combination? What have been your sort of favorite parts of being on the floor with him so far?
I just think his dynamic, his ability to push the tempo, put us in our spots offensively, competitive nature, just another threat on the floor. Anytime you can have multiple threats on the floor, just keep the defense at bay. Keeps the defense eyes off you individually. So his ability to get down the hill and attack the rim, either for a shot or for a kick out, was very key for our ball club.
LeBron, I was curious how you reacted to Trevor's procedure this week and how you think that will change things for you guys over the next 2 months while he's rehabbing from that.
Obviously, anytime you're dealing with surgery, you wish for the best. But we believe in our docs, and everything has been said that he'd come back in full strength. So 6 to 8 weeks during a marathon may feel long for him, but we welcome him coming back 100%. We can't wait to get him back on the floor with us.
LeBron, what have you seen in the practice gym with you, Russ, and AD that you'd like to see come out on the floor by the end of the preseason?
I don't know. Just want to continue to play ball, just continue to work our habits and things of that nature. Preseason is I don't know. I care more about the practice course than I care about the preseason games. You get out there, you play in rotations, that you're trying to figure out things of that nature. So it's so much that you can get out of a preseason game for me individually. But I love our practices. I love to see what we're doing and continue to work behind closed doors. So I don't know. I don't really put too much in the preseason, to be honest.
Hey, LeBron. Frank mentioned Ken as a guy who's stood out and impressed defensively. What have you thought of his defense so far? Has anyone else stood out or impressed you?
Well, he comes from a defensive-minded franchise, and that's Miami. You have to show up and play defense in order to be on the floor in Miami. So, I just love his competitive nature, and the fact that he's from Chicago. Those guys just they have another level of pride when it comes to basketball on both sides of the floor. So, I love what he brings to our ball club, and looking forward to having a great year.
LeBron, Frank said that he's made some adjustments to the offense compared to the last couple seasons, but the defensive principles mostly stayed intact. Not to dive deep into the playbook, but in general, what are those changes like? And then for someone like yourself, what's it like, because the ball's going to be in your hands so much, what's it like actually processing whatever those changes are and kind of downloading that new information?
Yeah, we pretty much got a whole new offensive system this year that we've been working through over our practices since training camp started. So like I said, it's an adjustment for us offensively, just having guys in different positions, having guys in different places on the floor with our new look and what we're trying to do. So like I said, it's going to be a process for us, but I think it'd be better off for us in the long run. Keeps the ball moving from one side to another. Moving the ball, not much with the dribble, but more with the pass. And obviously we got downhill attackers, and Russ, K9, myself, Talon, guys that can do that. So we want to make sure we keep everyone involved offensively, keep the ball moving from one side to another, keep the defense, always at bay. So we're just working through it right now, which is a good thing. It's all about the process that you'll always hear me talk about.
LeBron, it's kind of a two-part thing. You'd mentioned obviously the preseason for you individually at this point is just kind of a shrub. Who does it matter for on this team, and what have you seen kind of watching these last 3 games when guys have gotten opportunities? And then, I guess secondly, what's sort of your plan then for the next 3?
It means something as far as individuals getting their rhythm, getting game shape. We have our practices, but being out on the floor and bump against another team and things of that nature, that helps. I was saying for me, it's nothing I'm going to learn in preseason at this point in my career. Nothing at all. I'm not going to learn anything. Nothing. That means zero. But working our habits and building camaraderie and chemistry on the floor, but that's always good, I think. But I said, I love the practices more than the preseason games, because you make the mistakes and you figure it out right there. You're able to stop it and let's talk about it, things of that nature, and go back and rewatch the things. You can do that obviously the next day after a preseason game, but you can do it right on the fly, in practice. So I'm more inclined to love those more at this point, because nothing on the floor that I'm gonna learn for me individually. Yeah.
LeBron Brez with a very telling quote. I care more about our practices than I do preseason games, at least individually, because he's thinking about what they do in practice and what they're working on.
You know what they've seen in practice? The big 3 actually playing together.
Yeah.
Obviously we haven't seen AD, LeBron, and Russ on the same court in games. So that's why both LeBron and Frank Vogel, even Russ, are just kind of shrugging this off. They're like, okay, yeah, we know what's going on behind closed doors. We're at practice every day. They had a pretty intense training camp last week, of course, James. And you played preseason games before for several years, and it's really changed even since then. This is more like an NFL preseason. You get the starting guys in for 1 game, maybe 2 games out of the 6, and nobody is panicking in the Laker locker room, and why would they?
Yeah, I think they're experienced enough to know that they can pull this together. They don't have a lot of young players. They do have some young players, none, but they're not worried about, creating that continuity that they need between Russell, LeBron, AD, Rondo, guys like that, Carmelo. They know how to pull it together. It's just a matter of getting it done the next couple days here, this next week before the season starts.
Big game, James, a little 360?
Yeah.